Let's get started with the Power Hour. Today I want to talk about the value of your time and money. Who thinks your time and money is valuable? As birders, do you think we tend to sometimes give away our time and money?
Yeah.
What do you guys think is more valuable, time or your money?
Time.
Time.
Time is money.
Personally, I think we give away our time much easier than we do our money, which is something important to think about. So I spent some time just kind of brainstorming some stuff on here, give you guys this thing to take home with you and study and read through, but let's just read through it, kind of walk through it and talk about some of the points of valuing your time and money. So if you ever stop to really think about the value of your time and money and how much it truly affects your life, every action you take when you are working, quotes, working, has a potential cost and a potential negative or positive return on that invested time, depending on your actions, the time spent on those actions, and how you approach that action. The good news is you're in complete control. The bad news is you're in complete control. You're your own business owner, boss, and employee all wrapped into one. Are you a good business owner, boss, and employee, or a bad owner, boss, and employee? Are you good in one part but not in another? The first step towards being not only good but great in all these areas is to understand the value of your time and money. So the first thing I think is important when you're thinking about this is to start asking yourself effective questions, and as they relate to your time and money. So these are just a few, and we'll take a second. I'll read through these and then offer up any other suggestions that you might have for questions to ask yourself. So here's a couple of the questions. How much time is too much time with a buyer or seller? Are you effectively using real estate tools to help you save time? Some of the tools we have can really help you save time. Make sure you use them. Do you have boundaries for your time with your clients? What value do you give yourself on a per hour basis? What's your target goal per income per hour? You should know these numbers, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later. What time are you spending doing $10 per hour work? If you're in this business, all of us are going to end up doing $10 an hour work, even though at some point maybe we can offload some of that to an admin assistant, virtual assistant, and vice versa. We're all going to do some of that $10 an hour work. The key is not to do 40 hours of $10 an hour work. What is your work schedule on a week-to-week basis? What is your time off schedule? Do you control your time, or do your clients control your time? Any others you can think of? Anybody want to talk about any of these in particular?
Well, the hourly worth one, number 4, most people come from real jobs. So with the real job they work, they might be $15, $20, $25 an hour. And the mindset of most people, even real estate professionals, they still think it's an hourly job. And it isn't. It's not even close to an hourly job. So whatever value you think you should have is probably, pick a number in your mind, write it down, and then put an X2 below it, because you really should be getting twice what you think, because we don't value ourselves enough, period. We let people beat us up, walk all over. It's a learning experience. When you're new in the business, people tend to do it a lot more. It is because we allow them. And even now I get beat up a little bit, but every once in a while I have to sit back and say, okay, it's time to stop with this person.
Mike said that to me one day. He was going to take any one deal you've done and then figure out how much time you spent working on that one deal. Now break down how much you made over the hours that you spent, and that's how much you should be valuing each hour of a day. And I was just like, okay. So for me, putting my son in another 1 day of daycare a week was not even a question of whether it was worth it or not. It was exponentially worth it. To get 1 more day back in the week for 8 hours was for $45 more a week. I was like, yep, yeah, that works.
What do you think of this idea? I wrote down for myself in this that I want to take my earnings goals and drill it down, how you do your annual or monthly, drill it down to my hours I'm going to work a week to get the rate. would that be a wise thing to value my time, take my earnings goal and just drill it down to a?
Yeah, you have to determine how many, be honest with yourselves. How many hours do you really work in real estate? Think about it. The truth is most real estate agents really work in or on their business probably 30 hours a week. We work late at night, showing properties 6, 7 o'clock, but we really probably don't work a 40-hour a week job. And that, that's just the nature of the beast. Some people work more than 40 hours, but the average real estate agent probably works 25 to 30 hours a week. The people who produce a little more probably do 30 to 40. But it all depends. When you hit a certain level, if you're working 50 and 60 hours a week, you really ought to be getting the admin to help with that, the busy work, things that somebody else can do.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things to keep in mind when you're thinking about, where am I worth? The business doesn't just come to us. So, if you're working a 40-hour week, for instance, you should be spending at least 10 hours a week prospecting, if not more. So 25% of your workload is trying to find new business. And then being self-employed, we're paying 13% off the top of self-employment tax. We're also, when I was in the construction world, whatever we hired somebody for, the cost of the company was technically 50%. So whatever you're paying someone, add 50% to it with, the IRAs and those stuff like that. And that's typically what you're paying someone on top of what's costing you to have someone on top of what you're paying them. So if you're adding that in 50% plus, 10%, I mean, Matty was right, at least double what you.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. I like that.
At least double what you think you should be worth.
Yeah, because we all came from jobs. I mean, everybody, we're all raised the same way. Get a job. Yeah, go to school, get a job, save money.
I mean, as real estate agents, we kind of look at it like, oh, what do we need to survive? We should be looking at it, what do we need to, A, survive, B, pay our health insurance, just like we were working for a regular company, put some money into an IRA, et cetera, on a year-to-year basis. And it's, all of a sudden you realize that you probably should be making, or setting your goals a lot higher than you're actually making. So, all right. So the other thing is controlling your time. A lot of agents let other people control their time. Prime example is, when do you want to go see that house? Oh, I want to go see it Friday at 5. Instead of approaching the buyer with, this is when it's available. It doesn't have to mean you don't have to say, well, I'm available during these times. You can say, it's available to see these 2
That's
times.
a great way to frame it. It's available.
Right.
Takes you right out of the way.
Takes you out of the equation. Because they will use your time, and they really don't care about your time. They care about their time more than your time. So you have to be in control. And I always like the trick of giving them 2 times. Instead of saying, I'm available, or it's available this time, give them 2 times. They're going to usually pick 1. And definitely give them times over saying, it's an open field, when would you like to go see it?
It's also creating a little bit of a sense of urgency too, because if they feel that there's a lot of other showings that are taking place, then once they go into it, we need to make a decision pretty quickly. So,
right.
I mean, in this market, if you're not instilling a sense of urgency into your buyers, you're going to waste time with them, and they're going to find a house that they love, and they're not going to get it.
Right. So it is a risk reward. In this market, you have to look at it like that one might go fast, so I might have to, in this case, kind of go with it. But it's everything you do, you should be thinking about from the perspective of, am I protecting my time, or am I not protecting my time?
I just had I'm working with, I don't really like to do multifamilies because I owned them when I came back in '93. I said, I'm going to be the multifamily king. Oh no, too much work. But just recently, because I've gotten beat up so much with tenants and showings, I basically designed a new way of doing business for multis with myself. Anytime I get a multifamily, I go introduce myself to the tenants because I want to get them as allies. And I say, okay, what's worked in the past, I need you to be on board with it. And they say, okay. I pick one day during the week, and this is a multifamily at 14 Massasoit. Tonight, between 5 and 6. That's the only time I show it during the week. Saturday, if it's still available, between 11 and 12. That's it. If people want to see it other than that, they can't. That's just the time my sellers agree to it. I get the tenants to agree to it. It makes your life so much easier. Because multifamilies are a pain to work around tenants. It's just
3 times as much work, at least,
Yeah.
depending on the number of units in the building.
Yeah, so if you set it up where, hey, here's the 2 times in a week, it just makes your job so much easier.
Absolutely. Okay. Also important to schedule your off time. You can't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you're in off time, don't answer your phone. Shut the ringer off.
You're going to deal with that.
Schedule your off time
Setting the
first.
expectation.
What I do Sunday nights is I schedule my off time during the week first, and then everything else gets filled in around that.
Right. Another good tip is when you're working, answer your phone. How much harder it is to answer a voicemail, write down the number, because most people are calling from their office. So you have to write down their cell phone number, and then you call them back and you get their voicemail. And then you're playing phone tag back and forth.
Even when you look at the screen and you cringe. That's happened to you guys? Oh, it was just me. Answer the phone. Get it over with.
Besides, you're valuing your time, that could be a lead that you also could lose if you don't answer the phone. So when you're working, though, and again, you have to have boundaries. So, all right, want to move on to money? Let's talk about money. All right, how much does your business cost to run? You guys should know these.
I'm sorry, can we go back to boundaries
Yes.
one last thing?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Well, in our listing agreements and buyer agreements on Dotloop, there's a big open section that allows you to include anything you want. We started putting in, times we can be reached and off time. Don't call me.
Oh, really?
You have access to us during these more normal work hours. So whoever the agent is working with the customer, it says weekends by appointment only, and weekdays only before 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., after 7 p.m., my phone is on a private setting where the phone doesn't ring.
Mhm.
I'm at home.
That's good.
You can, only you.
That's good.
But for clients, because they'll call you all night. Hey, I'm on Zillow right now, 9:38 p.m. Wanted to see if we could get in this house tomorrow morning before I go to work. I'm probably asleep or reading a bedtime story, which is what I love to do. Sleep and play with my dog. I'm not going to jump on the call at 10 o'clock and be like, oh yeah, let's set it up. Sounds fun. No,
Which
sorry.
document would that show up on?
You just add it to the listing agreement.
Yep, the listing agreement, you can add it to it in Dotloop. Same thing with the buyer.
There's a big old section.
Yeah, there's a big blank,
Type in.
big blank box. So weekends by appointment only with at least 24-hour notice. So if you want to go see something Saturday or Sunday, let me know or let one of us know by Friday at noon, please. So we can set something up for the weekend, because weekends are, again, a good time to do stuff with your family.
That's a great
Especially with the summer.
Just even thinking about how you set up your listing on MLS, like putting instructions how to send you an offer in the special firm remarks or the showing instruction area is, here's how to show it, use showing time. Obviously, you're saying you're valuing your time, you're using showing time to schedule your showings, but also putting in there, send offers to fax number and email address. Include anything you can in the attachments, for that will help buyers and eliminate all those.
Lead paint, solo description, that should be,
Try to make it easy.
I try to get that. Like when people send me a lead paint form, already signed by the buyers, but it's not my lead paint form, I say, hello, go back to MLS PIN, go to the attachment, fill that one out.
Right. You'd be surprised even putting in there see MLS attachments. Some people are like, I'm looking at this. And like, did you look at the MLS attachments? No,
You're always going to get people, customers and other agents, and attorneys and mortgage brokers, I'll go a little further, that just won't pay attention to those details. You're always going to get those people who misbehave, but you got to kind of like train them. Like, this is okay. Stop texting me like a verbal offer when it says in giant caps on every one of our 21 listings. Email offers to DeGillisTeamCarry@yahoo.com.
Other people will,
Like, where do I send the offer?
other people will value time to the point where they will ask you a question to hope to get a faster answer for themselves than for them to go look for it.
Yeah.
Prime example is admins, they're checking files and there's nothing in the file, and I feel like sometimes agents will submit the file for the admin to tell them what they're missing, when they should be reviewing it and checking. It's no different than when you're doing your real estate deals. you'll get those calls from attorneys like, "Yeah, I sent that to you last week." You know? But anyways, let's move on. Money. How much does your business cost to run? You should know how much it costs to run on a yearly basis before you step out the door. After you step out the door, it's probably related to a prospecting activity, which you want to track costs for, or a running your clients' activities. So what does it cost to keep your license up, to pay for your MLS? Any of those costs involved in just having your license and being in the business, what are those costs? It's good to know that stuff and start to track like the portions of your business and what those costs are, because sometimes I think we all tend to look at, even if we're not tracking exact sciences on what a client cost, what we made on a client and what our estimated time committed was to that client, so that we can see how much we made on that client. What about the ones we didn't close? All the time we spent on those ones that, you know, showed them 20 properties, they never bought a house, or listed a property and they canceled or expired because you didn't get the right list price first. So those all should go into the equation at the end of the year. You should be able to look at it and say, you know, if I work 30 hours a week on the business and 10 hours a week on prospecting, that you can kind of delve it down. You can look at it on a quarterly basis even and just say, this quarter, this is what it was looking like. Just to kind of give you an idea of what your costs are. How much does it cost to close a certain number of deals per year? What lead sources are you paying for, and what is the return? Expected return on your money. You should know that stuff. What is your net income before taxes and after taxes? I think if you kind of really look at that on an average basis, what your percentages are of, you know, gross commission comes in and what you net at the end after taxes is kind of shocked and sad. So it's kind of a kick to the throat to say, you know, I thought I was doing all right, making, you know, whatever, 75, but I'm ending up with 35 at the end of the year.
And that's why whatever number it is, you gotta double it.
That's right. Are you writing off everything you can write off in your business? It's a good question to ask. You know, are you tracking everything you need to? How much does it cost to procure a new buyer or seller client? You should know those costs and what it costs to buy a piece of business. So those are all things that you should start to think about and be aware of. Let's move into some more specifics on saving your time and money when it comes to working with buyers. So let's start with buyers. These are just some tips and suggestions I have for you and some talking points. Never take a new buyer out to more than 1 or 2 homes before asking them to sit down for a consultation. If you're practicing what Mario calls unsafe agency, stop. You know, I do believe that sometimes the clients are going to be a little leery of coming in the office first before they meet you at maybe look at a house or 2. And I think it is okay to invest that time of 1 or 2 houses on one day.
Building rapport.
Building rapport before you say, all right, so we've seen a couple houses. This is how I work with buyers. So we need to come in the office, sit down, we'll have an office consultation, we'll walk through the whole buying process. We'll make sure I answer any of your questions, go over the form so that when we find the perfect house, you're ready to make an offer, and just make sure you're ready to go. All right. Anybody believe that's a bad thing? I think that's how you need to approach it. If you don't have the reasons why, just say my office requires it for my safety and for your protection and for your rep, so we can make sure we're fully representing you. You want to push it off in the office, make it it's an office policy.
Another thing to tell them if they're reluctant to come and say, listen, I value your time, and I feel that if we take an hour or a little more to sit down and go over your wants and needs, that's time well spent, so we're not looking at a bunch of houses that don't make any sense. So turn it around to say that you want a commitment for them to spend time to save time. They'll appreciate that.
I had an agent call me a couple weeks ago for a house that we have up for Holden that thankfully ended up under agreement the next day. She's like, I want to go see this house. I'm like, oh, that's great. And started probing. I was like, well, you know, why isn't your realtor bringing you to show these houses? Are you working with anything? She goes, I'm not going to work with a realtor. I'm just like, well, why not? She's like, oh, I never do. It saves the buyers money if I don't. And I was like, okay, unless that's in the agreement, that's not the case. And in my head, I was like, you basically just guaranteed me that there's no way I'm getting compensated for any time I spend with you. So I have no incentive other than trying to sell the house that we're trying to sell. But I was like, no, it's like, okay, you're kind of tough for me to work with you if you're telling me right out of the gate that there's no way you're going to go through me to put an offer in. I was like, so now, the agency disclosure is basically as far as I'm going to get. I'm not going to get a buyer's agreement. I'm not going to get an offer put in for me. It's like, well, good luck.
Right. Good luck.
I'm not sure.
Sometimes asking them to come up with consultation, if they start talking like that, good luck.
Yeah, interesting scenario. I don't want to talk about that for a second. You get a buyer call on sign call on one of your listings. Refuse to work with an agent, absolutely adamant about seeing the house. How should we handle that? We have to show them the house, right?
I basically have the form already pre-printed, scratched out, saying that I represent the seller. And I will not let them in the house unless they sign that. Or I bring it to the kitchen table and make them sign it before I go anywhere.
Okay.
I said, listen, have you seen this before? Yes. Was it full? And if they say yes, I said, was it explained to you? And most people say not really. I said, well, I have to do my job and explain it to you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to go over that. So I did this just yesterday on my Charlton house. Explained to them how we work as agents, the reason the farm came into existence, a little history on it. And I says, because I already represent the seller's best interest, and you're comfortable that I am representing them, and that you have to keep your confidential stuff secret. So don't tell me anything that I can use against you. I joke with them, call it a real estate Miranda.
Yep.
And they always sign it. And as we go through, I'm looking for buying signals if I don't see them. And then I talk to them about the benefits of the buyer's representative. Because they will say something like, what's this? What about that? And you explain it to them. They say, wow, no one's at. Have you ever tested for radon in your house? No. Do you own your own home? Yes. How long? 4 years. Radon was pretty well explained to most people, and nobody recommended that you have that kind of test. No. So I may be getting these people as a client because you just work.
You're educating and you're working. So do we have that template form available if somebody?
Yes, it's in .loop. It's
There's an
in
agency
.loop with
disclosure there's two
modified. There's one for
open houses.
no, that's the
there's two.
notification.
It's a mandatory consumer relationship disclosure form, and one of them that says in parentheses with
Unsigned.
not working with
An agent.
working with seller. It says like
It says
seller.
the agent listed below represents the.
Seller.
If you're a listing, it says the agent listed below is representing the seller, and they sign recognizing that. It doesn't say represents the consumer. There's the other one that says the agent listed below represents the buyer, and that's if you're bringing your buyer clients out to a FISBA.
They're all in the buyer package?
Yeah. There's two of them.
Well, one's in
Right next
buyer,
to
one's
each
in seller.
other. Well, I should probably move I don't know if the other one's in seller. I'll move that to seller too. The one that's crossed out says I only
I
represent
don't
the
think
seller.
the second one is in the seller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just pulled it up yesterday. I forgot where it was.
Yeah, it's got it in parentheses. When you open it up, you'll see there's a cross out where it says represents only the seller. You would have the buyer sign that saying you're representing the seller only.
So, I mean, I usually kill the conversation at the person being unwilling to share any kind of proof of funds or pre-approval letter. I will not work with an agent. I want to see your listing. Fantastic. I'd love to show it to you. Can you bring your proof of funds letter or pre-approval letter to the showing?
Mhm.
No. Why is that important? Here's why. Let me explain. I represent the seller. I need to make sure that you have the capacity to perform for my seller before I show you. You just don't want to get your hopes up, and then you can afford less, and then you're hard
Or
to work with.
inconvenience my seller.
That too.
Yeah.
You can
So
ask them to leave.
You could
if
spin
they're
it both
unwilling,
ways.
if they're unwilling to do that, I'm sorry, I can't really help you.
I don't,
Is that okay to
That's a great
kill the
thing.
conversation at that point?
And you can spin it both ways. You can say, listen, I don't want to show you something you might fall in love with that you can't afford. And if they say, well, we can definitely afford it, then I'd probably show it to them. Or I made a promise to my sellers I'd only bring qualified buyers.
Yeah, that's
And how would I know that unless you send that to me?
right. That's the general direction I go with it. But you still have people who are like, I absolutely want to see your listing, but I'm not willing to give you any kind of information to prove to you.
Right. Okay, great. Then you need to call another agent.
Call another
That,
agent.
maybe they'll take you through unprotected.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too.
I just want to
is
make sure
it's-
we're all safe and protected in how we respond to a call like that.
Yeah.
Because you get knuckleheads who are like, I want to see the listing.
I mean, even
Need
when
some
you ask, are you
qualification.
working with an agent, there's, knuckleheads that'll kind of,
They'll lie.
no.
Or they'll say, oh, I'm working with Exit. Well, Exit's not an agent, dude. You're working with a person? They'll tell you they're working with a company. You say, no,
And you
are you working with an agent?
You can say, well, if you're working with an agent, then your agent should accompany you at all times. Why don't you have your agent call me instead of showing? I've seen occasions
they're out of
where
town
all of a
for the
sudden they say,
weekend.
well, I'm not really contracted with an agent. I'm on an agent's website. So then
Or my aunt is my agent.
my aunt would say, well, call your aunt and have her set up a showing.
You can't work it out of the house.
Right. Again, it's a time protection more than anything. All right, so moving on. Also, before past that 1 or 2 showings, ask them to come in for an office consultation. Require they get their pre-approval. Again, it's about sellers are going to expect that you pre-approve when you're going through houses, and also just to know what your budget is and what your mortgage rate is going to be, so you can figure out where your price limits want to be, so that we're not showing you houses that you can't buy or decided are beyond what you want to spend. So require them to get pre-approved. Walk them through, when you're at the consultation, walk them through an MLS search to really dig into what they like and dislike in a home, and to gauge their seriousness level and see if they have realistic expectations. There will be occasion when you have a buyer come in and do this, and they're so unrealistic that you may decide that I'm not going to spend a ton of time wasting this client. Another client may come in and you feel like they're very realistic and very serious, and you might scout the market every day to try to find them what they're looking for, because if you bring it to them, they're going to make an offer. So just sitting down and doing that with someone one-on-one is important. 15 minutes of spent time doing that, you'll gauge pretty well if they're realistic, and if both buyers, husband and wife, or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever they are on the same wavelength.
At Mass Momentum, there was an agent who said that they, actually might have been the attorney, who said that they give both him and her, or him and him, or her and her, they give them 2 sheets. What are the 5 most important things in your new home? You fill yours out, don't cheat. You fill yours out. And if those don't match, how on earth could you find them the right house? If they can't come together, we're not friggin' magicians, unless you want to buy 2 houses. I can help you with that too.
Then you can ask the what if question. Okay, you said you don't want to split. What if there's nothing available, but all of a sudden perfect split came along? Would you consider it? Questions like that, the what ifs.
The perfect kitchen, but what if?
Right.
Yeah, Floyd, that's a Floyd. If I found everything on your list, but it didn't have a fireplace, would you consider it? Yes. If they say yes to that, then the fireplace is not a need, it's a want.
Right. Separating needs and wants are definitely important too.
But you go a step further and go 5 needs and 5 wants. This is what I need to have in my house. This is what I would like to have if possible.
You could, yeah. Anything you do in that, even 15, 20 minutes is
Just to narrow down.
Yeah.
The more you ask, the more you delve into what they want, and you have to ask questions, property specific and then them specific, or them vague.
I mean, you also, when you do that, you'll find that sometimes they'll send you, I want to see this house, and you look at it and say, well, we went over your wants and needs, and this doesn't seem to fit any of them. And sometimes buyers just, I was talking about somebody a couple weeks ago, they literally just want to go out. Like, go out every week just to go out.
Yeah, you get your open house sheet.
Even the
Yeah, have
houses
fun.
aren't in their, here's my card, their search range, and they have no right looking at them. They're over budget, they're not the right house, they just want to get out and look. Well, they go to open houses.
Is that a looky-loop?
It's a look
Yeah,
at.
it's a little exactly.
I have sold a house too that I recommended that wasn't, because they weren't figuring it out and it wasn't anything. You know what I mean? I was like, let's look at, can I pick a couple places?
Right.
And one of them.
Right, if you know more.
As you work with them, you start to kind of go, you know what?
But if you don't have those conversations, you have no idea. So you have to have those conversations.
Well,
And then,
I was just going to contribute because we're seeing a lot of first-time buyers looking at first-time buyer smaller houses with 203K renovation loans. In their mind, you got to set the budget. It's not unlimited. You can't take a $100,000 ranch and turn it into a $400,000 new construction colonial. You cannot. You cannot. You can't. You can't. I'm telling you, you can't do it. You can't. You can't put this. So, okay,
But what if I brought you chocolate chip cookies?
you have to make sure they understand this, because we've got, I swear to you, 3 customers right now who are like, I want to look at this $80,000, $120,000, dump. It needs a lot of work. Okay, well, what do you like? You have that needs and wants. What do you need in your house? What do you want in your house? And the responses they give you are off the reservation with what they want to turn this thing into. Bring it back to where the budget, meets most of their needs, not their wants. So again, it's competitive too. That's another degree of difficulty with those type of buyers, but that's an important conversation to have, because again, they want to turn, this falling down ranch or split into this majestic Playboy mansion that's going to be amazing when it's done. So you have to have that conversation with them too.
Good point. All right, so setting expectations for how many houses it should take to find a home. I think it's important. At the consultation, you could say, if I can't find you the right home in the first 8 to 12 that we see, then we might need to sit down and re-explore your expectations and get a better understanding, maybe reevaluate your wants and needs. Set that up front, because then they're thinking in their head, okay, we're not going to go out and see 40 houses. We're going to talk about this every 8 to 12 and see what's going on. Important. Don't be afraid to tell buyers you are not the right agent for them if they go beyond $12,000 to $15,000. It's okay to say, I don't seem to be finding what you're looking for. Maybe I'm not the right agent. Maybe we need to talk about your expectations, but it's okay to say.
Always point at yourself and say, listen, apparently I didn't listen properly. I'm not showing you anything that fits. Can we sit down again, just so I have a clear understanding, because I probably didn't listen properly the first time. And if they're really good, they'll say, oh, no, it's not you, it's us. I can't make her happy. That's all there is to it. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. And buyers will tell you what they think they want. There's an old phrase, try not to use it. It's called buyers are liars. Try not to use it, because the reality is they think they know what they want until they go out and look at a couple. So when should you be done qualifying them as far as the type of house they're looking for? When they write an offer. So you show them a house, you say, what did you like about that? What things would you change? Oh, so you keep asking, and then you can narrow down that search. So if you do that after every showing, when you find another house that they say, oh, can we go look at that? And you say, well, I'd like to. However, you know how you told me you didn't like this at the house on Maple? This has got the same, oh, okay, steep backyard. Yeah, we got it. We don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That helps when they have 12 homes they want to see this weekend, and before you even go out, you can narrow it down to 6.
Yeah,
which is the reality.
What we have them do is bring us a list of your top 10 houses you want to see. We're going to prioritize them with you, and then go drive by all of them first. Right, because they'll find an ideal house. This is perfect. Mike, Pete, everybody, we got to go see someone. Bring us to this house today, and they go drive by it, and the backyard is on the train tracks. Right. Oh, missed that.
Nothing worse than going to a show and before you walk in the house, like, you know, it's been working. You're like, okay, you're killing me here. Especially if that's the only house that day. I just wasted the house going to found and everything else. But you should think about it from a perspective of, if it takes you more than 12 to 15 homes to find the right home, and every showing after that, or every group of showing after that, you're reducing your pay. Because if you count the 12 to 15 homes to find a home, and it takes you 15 to 20 hours to do so, and then you're putting another 20 to 30 hours in by the time the deal's done, you're putting 40 to 50 hours into a buyer client that you might be making $5,000 gross commissions on, and at the end of the day, with all your expenses, maybe $2,500. That's not a very good return on your invested time. So you need to look at it from that perspective. If you spend a year with a client and show them 50 houses, you're basically losing money. You're basically working for free.
That's right. Would you like fries with that?
Right.
Did you say after you find a home, you could spend 20 to 30 hours?
You could. I mean, it may not take that much, but you got your inspection, that's 3 or 4 hours. You got, it's all in little pieces, but there's a lot of time there. Just kind of following up, going to
And
file
and just fielding those questions about, hey, what's happening? How's the appraisals audit? Little things. It's only it's maybe a 5-minute conversation, but you have to be on top of the whole deal as you're going through. So your conversation with the client may only be 5 minutes, but it might have cost you a half hour.
I was always curious how much time you spent versus, me as a mortgage person in the past. I'm guessing it's probably about
Oh, we spend a lot more
about
time
double.
on mortgage brokers.
With buyer agents, it's double what it is with listings.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to take the time to schedule the appointments, line them all up so that you're not wasting time zigzagging across town. You've got to develop a map or a plan. And to set that up, it takes a while to do it. I mean, there's tools, like Tracy says, there's technology. I don't know how to use it on MLS, but there's a mapping thing to set up your appointments.
Schedule thing you showed us.
On showing time.
And then one accompanied showing screws you up for the whole week.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Hate it. That's as bad as people that don't use showing time. You see that and like, it's the other piece person down there.
Please call the agent. Please answer your phone.
Yeah. Call, text, call,
Don't
text.
answer the phone with what?
The best is when it goes, I have to return my calls between 11 a.m. and 12
Hello?
p.m. and 4 p.m. and 5
Right.
p.m. And you get them 40 later. Thank you.
Okay, all right, let's move on. Number 8, we're jumping down to number 8 because we talked about the last couple of ones, 6 and 7. Make buyers sign a buyer agency agreement with terms like this. Now, this is a personal preference, but if I was starting to work with buyers a lot again, I would consider putting something like this. And I want to hear your opinion on it. Exit ready partners shall be compensated as offered in MLS. If buyer does not have a property owner agreement within 45 days or 15 showings, whichever comes first, then exit ready partners shall be compensated a minimum of 2.5% as offered in MLS. Should the seller offer less than 2.5%, then the buyer shall make up the difference at closing. If we are unable to negotiate with the seller to pay exit ready partners 2.5%. You can also insert 3 if you want to, in lieu of 2.5%. If you value what you offer and the services you provide, then your time is worth every dollar you earn. What do you guys think about that?
I would be happy if everybody could just use the free farm.
Right.
If we could get to that stage, I think that would be great. And I think that makes sense if if you want to set yourself apart. Nobody else is really putting terms in there to say, listen, in addition to all these agreed upon legal terms, this is how I work. And that's how you can say it. This is how I work, or this is how my office works. It set yourself apart. You want me to spend how many weekends looking for it? Another thing you could do is there's a section. What kind of retainer fee do you charge? I think if we got ballsy and said, I charge $1,000 retainer fee when I work with buyers. Upfront goes into the escrow account. But actually, it can go straight into the operating account. It's not escrow for clients. It's your retainer fee, $1,000. Comes off what's total due when it's over. If they don't buy, we split that. I get $700, you get $300. Pay for your water bill this year.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, do you still put that in the listing agreements with, not always with buyer, but listings thing, if the seller gets a full price offer that they don't accept,
You
automatically-
produce a full price offer that the seller chooses not to accept. We're still deserving of our compensation.
Wow.
Twice this year already.
What? Did you have to fight for it?
twice last week.
Haven't
Yeah.
really pushed them because we got a better offer in the market, but
We got a
what
full
they're
price offer.
signing is, okay, this is a full price offer.
I mean, I haven't
We
seen
don't want
anybody do
to
this on
make
the listing side, but, we're not on the listing side yet, but even consider saying if the seller cancels prior to the end of the term, that the rate partner should be paid $500 or
Some kind of compensation.
Because I'm putting all my money out for photography, for everything else. You come up with some.
And if Matteo tells you to walk away from a listing because they're not reasonable about the price, listen to him.
Yeah, we'll go over that. We'll go over that. let's finish up with buyers here.
I didn't tell you that, I just advised.
Did we finish up that buyer retainer
No.
conversation? No, not really. Because you could also apply that towards the success fee. You know, there's a 2% co-broke being offered.
The
The
farm,
listing agent's getting 4%, they're only giving away 2%, and you charge your customer a $500 or $1,000 retainer.
the contract, it spells out that the retainer fee shall or shall not be applied
Right.
towards the total amount
So
due.
you
You can do a retainer fee that's on top of.
Yeah.
So you can put it on any way you want.
Right?
Back in the day when it first came out, I used to collect $500 back in 1990 something.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, that gets the buyer's skin in the game right away. You know, they've got something to lose, and they've got to commit. You know, they're not going to hire you, and whoever they use, or just say, hey, I'm working with you, and you. Let's go find houses. Call Alicia on the weekend. Call Pete weeknights. Call Tracy, you know, every other week. Just go out and look at houses, slide it out.
Right.
And if you're a little underexperienced, then you'll sign something and get them to commit with, you know, some leverage. Really, is what that is. That way.
Yeah, so an alternative to
They're
that
serious.
language and that I had in there, you could just put in there that exit requirement should be paid 2.5% minimum. And if it's not offered in once, they're gonna make up the difference. It's a lot of money. If you're looking at $200,000 property, it's 0.5% of $1,000. It's,
But what is it? You know, you got to pay to play. Ante up.
right. If they object, you could say, well, no, this is the way I work with my clients. And if they need an explanation, you can feel free. Nobody understands what we're doing. So an explanation of just, you know, I'm not sure if you realize, like, I pay more taxes than you. I'm self-employed. I pay 13% employment tax off the top. I pay my broker. I pay my costs of driving you around and all the gas and the cost of having my license and everything else. I'm a business owner, and I don't make as much as you think I do. So if I take home between 30 and 40%, you probably are looking at that number now saying, I'm not making a lot of money on these deals. So I need to protect my family and I provide for my family business. So if you want to work with me, if you want to work with the best, then this is what you pay.
That'd be the best, though.
Well, that was one of the things we went over in the Lowy training, you know, when it's either the buyer or the seller saying, oh, well, you make this much. You can easily just break down, you know, a pie of the commission and say, okay, well, here's the total commission. Here's half of it right away. I'm offering it to somebody else. Then you break down, I owe 30% to my broker. I need to pay transaction fee. I need to pay my taxes. And then you just keep slicing the pie. And you're like, so really out of this is what I'm getting. Right? And everything else is gone instantly. Then you're like, so now you understand why I can't go any lower than this. And if they don't want to be reasonable about something like that,
You can
I
play
won't
with
sell
it.
your house for 4%. I'm sorry. It doesn't leave me
Yeah,
anything.
we'll go to the
left on the
sellers
board.
in a second.
When logic doesn't work, go to emotion. Say, listen, oh my God, I just figured that out. I didn't even believe I was making that much. Any openings at your place? You know, what do you do for work? What do you guys make an hour? Wow, I'm making less than that. Any openings? Yeah, turn it around. Everybody thinks we make how much? 6%. They think that's all ours.
Yeah.
It's all ours. We're all at the golf course making 6%, talking to 2 people a day.
Exactly. So, all right, so, you know, an easy way to say no, have more leads. The more leads you have, the easier it is to say no. So maybe you need to spend more time prospecting so that you can pick and choose and say, no, I'm not going to work with you. I'll work with you. So the other thing is, if they have unrealistic expectations or they're not in an area that you really want to focus in, maybe you should consider referring them to somebody else. Maybe your worst enemy or your competition. But if you think about it, if you spend 1 hour getting to understand a buyer and the fact that they're unrealistic or that they're not agreeing to your terms, then you could take that and refer that out and make $800 to $1,000 off 1 hour spent. That's a pretty good return on investment. Let somebody else waste 17 weekends.
Has anyone referred or, you know, like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't want, you know what I mean? I kind of want to say, hey, one of our, because he's ready to go and everything, but
He was referred to you. And
yeah,
you're
one of my
paying
clients
royalty?
referred, yeah, I want someone else.
Wait, one of your clients?
One of my clients referred him to me, not a referral.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so you're
No,
going
that's
to
fine. I
get
mean, you
25%.
know, that's not my area of expertise, or that's not where I'm focusing on my business right now.
Our schedule is the
But I
one.
have the perfect person.
You think that my guy client would frown upon it?
I would let
Talk to
them
my
know.
client first?
I would definitely call them and say, hey, listen, I appreciate your referral, but there's just the way the market is right now, I just can't handle it. It's my personal market because I think that
He sent me his
whatever,
the first 12 properties he wants to see.
You should. You have to call me. You won't
Like
get any more
yesterday, I was like,
referrals.
oh my God.
Yeah.
He came in for a concert last week. It was great. And then he sent me this whole list. There's all the stuff I can speak.
Okay, so when you're on your buyer side of your business, you also want to evaluate your buyer side of the business. How much does it cost to acquire a lead? Even when you're looking at something like, do I invest in leads? Do I do open houses? How do I acquire my business? If you think about it for a second, I took an example here. Let's say you're looking at doing open houses versus leads. Between planning and doing an open house, it might take you 3 hours. Maybe a little less, but 2-3 hours. If you're doing a 2-hour open house, it's definitely 3 hours. If you're aiming towards, let's say, $75 an hour is what you feel you're worth, then an open house costs you $225 to run it. If it takes you 3 open houses to pick up one viable buyer client, then it costs you $700 for that lead. Most of the lead sources I found online, if you are doing the right ones and the right zip codes and you have the right visibility, you're spending between $400 and $500 to obtain a viable client that you should be able to close. So it's actually less paying for online leads, and you're not taking 3 hours, 3 weekends away from your family to get that lead. So
segue right into never do more than an hour on an open house unless it's your niece's house.
really, so if you don't have the money, certainly open houses are a good idea. But as you grow your business and you put money into your business, maybe it makes sense to go online leads through Zillows or Trulias or Realtor.coms to grow your business. So it's just something to think about that most agents don't really think about.
1 hour open houses are plenty most times because you have a life, number one. Your client, your seller doesn't really care how long it is, so long as you're doing an open house. The truth is they're more for us than they are for the clients because we might get listings and or buyers. And if you do an hour, well, you see this couple coming in and they seem interested, and another one comes in, they seem interested, you might get that buying frenzy where if it's 2 hours, it's spread out. And historically, open houses, the buyers come as you're turning the lights on or as you're turning the lights off. They don't come in the middle.
An hour open house is great, an hour and 15, 20 minutes, no matter what. Because that's
Someone will always walk in the last 5 minutes.
yeah, absolutely. When you're trying to
Those two things, I only did one open house for Tracy, and that happened. They all showed up in the beginning, and someone showed up at the end, exactly what you said.
So get rid of the middle. Just do an hour.
right,
Yeah, that's fun.
Bottlenecks everybody anyway, you know, so you've got multiple parties there all at once, creating urgency themselves. Oh my God, there's other people here who might buy this house before me.
And there's 2 ways to
Yeah,
look
my
at that.
option.
If you're an agent trying to get buyers on an open house, it's probably better if it's slower. If you're the listing agent, it's probably better if it's wackadoo in there. Because you as an agent trying to pick up buyer leads, you want to build rapport, and you're not going to be able to if there's 50 people for the open house.
So that's why you live by the sign-in sheet when you see, this is my name, here's my agent. Oh, well, go ahead. See, call me, let me know what you think when you're done. Comes in and they put down, they're not working with an agent. Hugs and kisses. It's a different
You
deal.
get a special package of information. True. I mean, I recommend you see the open house.
There you go. And then the person walking down the house, how come I didn't get those? Ask your agent.
I put in the open house tips there and not loop, but you should have just a listing sheet for the agent, buyers that are working with an agent, and then a packet of information for the buyers. With like buyer, you could have buyer, like the tips on buying a home in there, just, a nice information packet for buyers that aren't working with an agent because you're trying to win them over. Oh, that's good stuff. Your business card, maybe a personal bio about yourself, put all that together and have a separate packet and a separate little, I usually keep them off to the side, and then if a buyer rates having out with an agent, I hand them that packet.
Comparable homes one too, like
Yeah, you can do
put down there.
comparable homes.
My team, attorney, home inspector,
Right.
People like and trust.
Oh, you put everything down.
Oh, yeah.
The more information.
Yeah, and you can just say, hey, some of this stuff in here might be helpful to you. It looks like you said you wrote down you're not working with an agent. This might be some helpful information.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, moving on to sellers. It's important, in my opinion, to work with sellers who are serious about selling. Doesn't mean that they won't be overpriced, but they have to be serious. When interviewing over a seller over the phone, it's important to ask a lot of questions and find out their seriousness about selling. Some people are going to have a higher estimation of their value than you are going to, and you're going to go to a listing appointment and find out that you can't agree on numbers right off the bat. But the more important factor is how serious are they about selling. You need to know, okay, even if you need to get a sense that if they're going to be in the playing field of yes, even if we don't agree on price, I need to move because we're moving forward. We need to get out of here. If I'm here another winter, I'm going to kill somebody. Or so it's. I mean, you get a point. Some sellers will be like, "Well, I would like to maybe move, but only if we really, really, really get a great price on our house." You know, you can get a sense. Doesn't mean you don't go to the listing presentation, but I mean, an experienced agent might sometimes come down with some presentations because they get that sense of the phone. If you're a newer agent, you probably want you're at least investing in your education to go there and practice on them, but it doesn't mean you have to even take the listing. Another concept that a lot of agents don't think about is you're trying to focus in Auburn and Oxford, and someone calls you and they want to list a home in downtown Southbridge. Do you take it? Do you not? It's not an easy answer. If it's maybe a quick sale, maybe you do, but with any listing you take, you're going to get buyer calls, you're going to get maybe even potential other listing calls. So sometimes taking a listing in the wrong area is just going to create more headaches for yourself that you don't necessarily want to bring on. So there might be a case where you want a referral listing, or you want to find an agent that's in that area and partner with that agent on that listing and say to a new agent in the office, hey, I know you're from the Southbridge area, I'm in Auburn, I don't really want to go on Southbridge, do you want to partner on this listing? So think about it from the perspective of where you want to grow your business and how serious or not.
You should take a listing almost anywhere. I did really good, I thought, with a house down at Onset, down at Cape before you go over the bridge. I figured, great, I pop a sign in, simple, put a lockbox on it. Cape Cod doesn't use super lockboxes. So I had to drive down again and switch it to a combination lockbox. But for tracking purposes, I still set it up through showing time. But I have Mindy Borgatti scheduled. She did an open house down there. So you find somebody in the exit family to help you out.
Mm-hmm. The problem with listing buyers, you can waste your time. It's mostly time and never selling the house. If you take a listing, you're spending both money and time on a listing. So make sure you have a high probability of selling that listing to take it. Think about it like this. If you would say, okay, what's the probability of you selling this listing? They're not that realistic. They don't seem to be all that motivated. They want to list at a high price. Maybe it's a 25% chance I'm going to sell this house. That means that it's going to take if I took 4 of these type of listings, it would take me 4 to sell 1. You're going to have a really low dollar return on your invested time and money, maybe even negative if you really look at it. So, you don't have to take a listing if it's not going to, if they're going to be unrealistic. Even if they're unrealistic on price, sometimes it's better to say, so you're not budging with me on price, I take it you're not budgeting on price with other agents? And they say, no, actually the other agent wants to list at 5,000 higher than this. Great. Sometimes it's better to be the second one in than to lose it. And just say, when it doesn't sell and it expires, call me back. I'm not willing to waste your time and my time trying to sell a listing that's not going to sell. So that may be the case. If you can, though, get them to agree to set price reductions in the listing agreement. So you can use that other section to say, okay, we're not agreeing on price. You're at 220, I'm at 200. So then in 30 days, we're going to reduce it to 210. And then after 60 days, we're going to reduce it to 199.9 if we don't get an offer. Put it in writing. Even if they agree verbally, they won't remember the conversation. In a month, you'll say, okay, we talked about that price reduction. Let's reduce it. Did we ever talk about that?
And you can word it so it's soft.
I don't remember that conversation.
You can word it so it's soft.
Goes up above their head.
Really? I don't remember. Word it so it's soft. So if no offer is accepted by, say you get the listing today, if no offer is accepted by May 30th, price will adjust. They don't come down. Price will adjust. We're on at 220. Price will adjust to 210. If no offer comes at the end of June, price will adjust to 200. So you're gonna have that 2 lines.
Exactly. Okay. Also, if you get a listing opportunity for something that's outside of what you feel comfortable, confident in, is of your expertise, consider asking an agent to co-list with you and split the listing. If you get a $1 million listing opportunity and you're a new agent, I think you'd be stupid not to bring on somebody that you can co-team with on that listing and split the commission. Half of $15,000 is still $7,500. You know, don't risk losing it. Besides that, not only are you going to make a commission over not making anything, but you're also going to have a incredible learning opportunity to learn from somebody who actually knows how to handle that kind of client. So consider that. All right, so you're out of listing and presentation. I always believe, and this is a Floyd Whitman concept, is your first goal is to present your marketing plan, what you do, what your marketing strategy is, how you market homes, what do you do for photographs, virtual tours, etc. Present your marketing plan and get them to agree that if you can agree on price, that they will list with you based on the marketing strategy that you present. If you can get them to say, yeah, I like your marketing strategy, if we can agree on price, then they may, and I wouldn't throw out their, I wouldn't say price and commission. If they say, well, price and commission, say yes. But you don't want to already get them thinking about commission. You only want to get them thinking about the next step, which is price. So if we can agree on price, would you move forward with me today? You want to get to a yes there. Otherwise, there will be sellers that will later not agree with you on price, but they'll blame it on the marketing. They'll say, well, I want to see how other agents out there would market my home. They might market it differently. It's probably about price or commission, but they're using another excuse because they don't want to talk to you about the money. So get them to agree on your marketing plan first. Like, yes, I think you have a great plan. I probably would, yes, I would probably list with you as long as we can agree on price. And commission. Okay, yes.
And what price did you think you wanted for your house?
Well, when the next step is obviously the pricing of the home. Some people have different opinions on this. I like walking through the market analysis, and at the end, after showing them all the actives and sold, say, all right, based on what we just looked at, where do you think your home fits into the range? First of all, if you say within the range, hopefully they're not going above the range, and maybe they're going to be less likely to go above the range that you're showing them. But if they come up with a number you are already in agreement with, it's just great. That's exactly where I think we need to be. Signing. So we're ready to sign. You lessen the chance of you putting your own foot in your mouth and immediately getting a no on everything by saying, well, I think we need to be priced at $199.9, and they were thinking $219.9, and they instantly shut down and they're gone. They're like, okay, well, we'll call you back next week, Nadia, and let you know if you got the listing. They just completely shut you off. You're done. So get them to try to spit out a number first. Yeah, we think it should be priced at $219.9. If your number is $199.9, say, well, why do you? Just curious where you came up with that number. So ask them qualifying questions. Where you're here, and I'm seeing these comps here. Do you think that your house is a better value? Just kind of curious where you're coming from with that perspective. Some people will have a legitimate, my house is better answer. Others will have, that's just what we need. So at least you're getting to the fat and skinny of what their real objections are, so that you can handle them from there. Well, that's just what we need. Great, I understand you need to get a certain dollar value, but the reality is you probably won't.
Tracy?
Yes.
I'm going to have to learn what financial stuff an agent is not supposed to get into, since I'm used to asking all those questions.
Nothing other than price and commission.
Okay. Could it, when they're pricing, they're offering their idea of the price for the home, could I ask them or how much they owe on the house? I mean, wouldn't that be an important part of?
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually ask that.
Yeah, you got to find out their financial motivation.
I never knew if you guys knew that. If you knew what they owed.
You got to find their break even, because you can't price the house right. They need to, if they bought the house at a reasonable price and they can sell them for a profit, but then they took out 4 mortgages to put their kids through college, and they owe more than the house is worth, how are you going to get them to price the house right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, this is what the house is worth. Well, I need to make $60,000 more than that. well, then you're not gonna, that's
Stay
not
in
realistic.
your house for a couple more years.
Yeah,
Has anyone talked to you about a short sale?
Right.
Okay.
Would you consider?
You have to have that
Some other-
conversation if they're on the line.
Financial, I thought you were getting to, like, what's it cost to sell your house, tax, the tax stamps, attorney's fees, that kind of stuff. I don't like agents getting into that because you put your foot in your mouth and, they'll come back on you later and say, well, you said it was only going to be like $400 for an attorney and $700, so are you going to take that out of your commission?
I got you.
No, I'm not. So you're better off saying, talk to your attorney, or I can recommend an attorney. They will talk to you about the cost of selling, the recording fees, the tax stamps, etc. I don't like getting into that. You can talk about the price and the commission. Hey, this is what you net after commission, sure. Yeah, so getting them to agree on price can be difficult sometimes. Sometimes it's going to be setting in some predetermined price reductions if you decide to take it a little higher than you want to take it at. But that's where you gauge their seriousness, and again, if you really want to take the listing or not.
You can do those price reductions in either 3 or 4 week increments.
Yeah.
Because if the house is on the market and you've positioned it properly in MLS with good pictures, description, 3 weeks, you should be getting activity and maybe an offer. But if nothing happens after 3 weeks or a month, it's definitely time for a change.
What about the price reduction for a short sale?
Adjustment.
Every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks?
Yeah, same thing.
You're on the trolley.
I wrote that
And
down.
whatever you have for your drops, make sure that
Yeah,
it's every 3 weeks. Because when the bank looks at they ask for the listing as well as the property history. And if you show 200, 195, 190, if you show that every 3 weeks, you basically gave them market. If you do it every week, they'll probably kick it back. But if you show it, you've given it 3 or 4 weeks in between price adjustments, the market's speaking to it.
It tells them that you've done your best to bring them the best possible offer you can, basically. All right. As far as price reductions, if you don't get them to sign in the listing agreement preset price reductions, don't go to them every 30 days and ask for that reduction. If you are sensing like they're not going to get serious about selling, don't be afraid to just say, all right, I want to come meet with you guys, talk about the price. I really think we need to reduce price. I'm going to come there, we're going to do 1 or 2 things. We're going to either agree to both move on and cancel the listing, or we're going to reduce the price. Don't be afraid to again, you're looking at it from a perspective of you've just proven yourself right. They wanted to overprice it. You put it on the market. You've proven yourself right. There's no offers coming, barely any showings. Any time after that 30 days is just more time you're going to lose if they're not going to get serious about selling their house.
Yeah. And if they say, well, I really don't want to cancel the listing, I want you, well, you can have me, but you have to have me under my terms because I'm in business. I'm paying money to have this listing. I'm in business to make money. And if I'm working and it's not going to sell, that's hurting me, and it's actually hurting you because the longer the house is on the market, the less you're going to get. History proven technique.
Right. What do you guys feel about saying at that point, all right, then you agree to pay me whether I sell it or not?
Yeah. It's a great time to pull that
Yeah,
up.
it's a good time to do it if you're going to do it.
Right. Something to think about.
You can actually, it's not on the farm because nobody's done that. But you can get a retainer fee with the listing.
You could. All right. All right.
I want my commission up front.
All right, let's keep moving on. So now we're talking about commission. I think you should always be going for at least 6% commission. If they say, that's not what I want to do, say no. First step, say no, that's what my commission rate is. I offer a lot of value. If you want the best, you got to hire the best. See if sometimes people just say yes to that point because you just said no. You don't have to give a long explanation sometimes. When negotiating commission, it's important to have presented everything you do before you list. Obviously, we talked about that. With our marketing strategies, the stat is out there. Somewhere between 75 and 80% of all homes are going to sell through MLS, meaning there's a buyer in the market working with an agent. It could be an exit agent, it could be a call bank, it could be any agent. That's going to be the buyer for your home. The other 20% is out in the clouds. They might be on Facebook, they might be just getting to the market, they're not connected with an agent yet. Most agencies are just going to list them on MLS and hope they sell. Exit use Edison's program, we're going to make sure that we're advertising to any potential buyer out there and showing your home in the best light possible. You want to lower commission and go after 80% of the market, fine. But if you don't want to potentially lose the buyer that might be the right buyer for your home that's not in that 8% pool, then you list with us and we're going to get paid our commission because we're paying for that service that we provide. So that's another technique you can use. Another technique you can use is ask them to, if they were an agent and if you're putting it out there in the market and you want other agents to get excited about your home, what would excite you as a real estate agent? 2%, 2.5%, or 3%?
A 3.5.
3.5 or 4. You could actually 3.5 or 4. You probably should put 3.5 or 4 in there, and then they're usually probably going to pick in the middle and say, well, 3 would get me excited if I always had some new buyers coming in from another state. 3% would get me excited. Great. We split commission 6%.
That's a good way to say it. I like you put a lot of things on them, putting it, Lewis in the class explained how you get into a long explanation of, even though I'm not like this, most of the agents are going to want to see the higher ones naturally, the bigger percent, but ask what they would think of. I like that putting it.
Right, just say you're putting on 2 houses. Say your neighbor's selling the same exact house, but they're going to offer 3%, we're going to offer 2%. If it's between those 2 houses, do you think the agent's going to be biased to the one that's going to make them more money?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I wouldn't say biased, I would say excited.
Yeah, excited.
We're not as agents supposed to be. We're supposed to find our buyer the right house, no matter what the compensation is.
Yeah.
The reality world says you might get more excited about 3% commission. That's just reality. The other one, as he said before, showing them a pie chart, how much you actually make is another good concept. The other thing is agents constantly are giving away half and 1% of the time. The negotiations always, with most agents, with seller goes 6, 5, maybe 5.5, but usually 6 to 5. Don't give up 1% that fast. $200,000 house, that's $2,000. $300,000 house, that's $3,000 thrown out the window in one fell swoop. Your marketing cost might be, let's say, photographs, different things, maybe $750 at the low end on a property. That's 0.25% of a $300,000 house. Why not negotiate 5.75%? And if they say no, how about 5.5? Sometimes they just want to win a couple times before they give in. So if you go to 5 right away, they're going to be trying to go to 4.5 or 4. If you go to 5 3/4, and they feel like they won by the time they got you to 5.5, then at least you've only given up 0.5%. And that's a lot of money when you're looking at your marketing costs. Another approach is to say during the negotiation, clearly you can see how I stick up for myself in negotiation. Do you want someone who will look out for your bottom line like I am for mine? If so, well, let's do this, and I'll make you more money than the agent that's willing to come in here and give up their commission the first time that you asked. And that's another good, it's a good point. I mean, if you can't stick up for yourself, how are you going to stick up for them?
That's an old very one.
Yeah. You could use commission to go back on the price. Say, well, I'm sensing that this price is not going to get your house sold. I wanted to be a little bit lower at this price. Here, I'll go down my commission a little if you lower your price a little bit. We get more in line with where I think we need to be on price. Again, it's a whole negotiation. How much time and money you're going to spend trying to get them to a sale. So
I'd ask them if I had to go back for a meeting because they didn't agree to a price reduction. I'd say, listen, we really need to talk about 2 things that are hurting you. I think we need to lower the price and raise the commission. Ask for both, you're bound to get one. That's good.
One thing I've done before too is they are really, strongly opposed to paying your commission. Say, okay, look, I'll do a little commission break for you if you can give me 2 names right now of people who will buy and sell this year. Put me on with them. Give me something. Give and take. Give me some other referrals right now. We'll add it to the listing. John and Jane, one's going to buy, one's going to sell this year, and I'll do 5.5 instead of 6. Is that fair?
I've used that in other sales and mortgage, and that's really, really good.
Just something different. I heard it years ago. It's all a business thing. All right, well, give and take.
That affects people's credit for free. I say, I'm not going to try to get money, but it's not free or anything. I'm gonna help out a rental person, I'm not gonna charge them for the second to be free, they're gonna.
Yeah, there's got to be some value on both ends.
All right, so I'm going to jump around. You guys can read this more through on your own, but jump into just 21, just to kind of make a point that I think as a full-time agent, you should consider your time worth at least $100 an hour. The reason being that would gross you $150,000 in a year. Really, that $100 an hour, you're probably spending 30 hours with clients, and the rest of the time you're spending on running your business and prospecting time. So your client time should be worth roughly $100 an hour, in my opinion. That'll give you enough to, end up with, just like as if you're an employee, $100,000 after the fact, to put some money aside, put some money into retirement, put some money away for a rainy day, pay your health insurance, all those other costs, and still end up with an okay paycheck. So if you start thinking about it like that, it puts a new perspective on your business. It's like I'm out here, with a client that I'm probably going to end up with $10 an hour. Am I doing the right thing here? So just look at it from that perspective. Prospecting. Prospecting is meant to feed your business. Time spent on prospecting needs to be evaluated again to make sure you're maximizing your time. If you're prospecting, in my opinion, you got to time block it into 2-3 hour increments. You can't get going. It takes a half hour to get your engines going, and probably a half hour at the end to wind down. If you're not doing it in a few hour time blocks, I think you're just never going to get any steam rolling, just my opinion. Full-timers, I think, should spend 10 to 15 hours a week prospecting. If you have no business, then a lot more than that, until your business starts to eat into your prospecting time. If your time is worth $100 an hour, track how much time it takes to get a listing, to how much time it takes to get a buyer, and kind of start to see, where the costs are to obtain a listing or a buyer. Some prospecting involves your spending money to bring you leads, and others it's your time. So you got to look at that whole picture. And then you might start to see where you thought these lead sources like Realtor.com and Zillow and everything like that, or they might, give you, 10 to 15 leads for $300 a month. And after 2 months, you have a viable client at $600. They're looking at it saying, well, that seems kind of expensive. When you really look at the whole picture, it's probably not all that expensive. If it brings you at least a $3,000 commission, that's 10% of your commission to create that lead. I think that's in line with pretty much anything you're going to do. It really is. So that's about it. As you can see, there's a lot to think about when you're talking about your value of valuing your time and money. It's not as simple as just getting the business and going every direction the real estate world pulls you. It's about creating your business and your mindset for your business, and then constantly looking at your time and money and making sure you're investing it wisely. It's a lot of times it's more costly to go out there and do something unproductive than it is to just sit on your couch and watch TV. So make sure you're spending it wisely.
Track what you do. If I'm not really good with goal setting, but when things happen, I track where the business came from. How did I get that buyer? How did I get that listing? And whatever works the best for you, keep working at that. And then whatever works comfortable and easy to get you business, keep doing that. And when you're ready to grow your business, take just baby steps outside your comfort zone. And the more baby steps and the more things you do outside of your comfort zone, the faster you'll hit the bigger numbers.
The best business you can get is referrals. Going out and prospecting expires for sale by owners, streets, probably doing open houses, doing paid advertising to get leads from Realtor.com, Zillow, they all have, costs. So oftentimes 10% of whatever you're going to make on it. Referrals.
And always ask.
Great.
When's the last time not your family because they're all in real estate, but ask your family. Who do you know? Close 3 times. This is a Floyd thing. Who do you know that's mentioned buying or selling real estate now or in the near future? Nobody. Well, what about work around the bubble? Did you ever hear a discussion about? No. Okay, well, listen. Over Easter, Did you have Easter? Yeah. Did you have a big dinner? Yeah. Did anybody talk about, well, shit, yeah, Tracy said he was thinking about buying. Oh, thank you, dumbass. So ask
Or
3
even
times
saying
if
that
they won't
everybody
think
know
unless you are.
thinking about investing in real estate. A lot of people think of buying and selling like, oh, they're not looking to move. People invest in real estate, you know, anybody that's thinking about buying, investing, good times in buying rental properties. Well, yeah, you know,
Anyone
what,
know anybody selling lots?
Lots of lots.
Lots of lots. Houses with lots to be divided.
Yeah.
We have investors who are looking for them, so.
I will let you know, I need an engineer surveyor. My guy retired. Look for somebody reasonable.
all right, that's Tracy, thanks guys.
Thanks, Tracy.
Are we 1 o'clock?
Don't let him join us.
Go ahead.